The Brexit dilemma. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. That is exactly where Rishi Sunak is right now. 5 times they've cancelled the checks for EU imports, despite the fact that the EU got their checks up and running immediately after we Brexited 2 years ago. And the government have been holding up and playing lip service to, we are ready, it's going to be fine, there's no problems with it, and it's going to happen at the end of January. But today in the FT, Peter Foster has reported that industry is far from confident that there is an ability for this to work. And it's maddening, really, because why did we have to do such an extreme deal like this, which means that we've got friction? It was never communicated to the people that this is what we would have. And there are no advantages, only considerable disadvantages.
They should have been asked they should have been told that's what it means and asked categorically, do you want to lose your food, your countryside and this industry of farming? And we've not had that opportunity because the Conservatives, in their manifesto, made false promises. They said they wouldn't do anything like shatter our standards or harm our countryside. And yet, in practice, we now know that is exactly what they're going to do. I did live through the decimation of the coal mines because I grew up in South Wales. And, I recognise that, that's the sense of loss of what you lose in your community. With farming, it's a beautiful, fantastic industry, which is part of our culture and part of our identity. Everything about Britain is built into this. You see children looking at tractors and being excited and crops growing and animals outside feeding and eating. All of that is at danger of being lost.
And we have been considerably on a weak foot for the last 2 years, with us having red tape to export to our biggest market and them not having the same checks, which means that our domestic market has been flooded with cheaper, lower standard and illegal produce because no one's checking anything coming in via the EU. And if they now do these checks, because they've delayed for 2 years, there is going to be a significant rise in costs, inflation, and there's going to be shortages, and there's going to be delays, and there's going to be problems, and there is nothing that can remove that. And if they'd known, if they'd planned ahead, you would have thought they'd think, well, we're going to have less goods coming in from Europe, so we ought to do something about ensuring we grow more foods and products here and we invest in a greenhouse system here. But oh no, our greenhouses, many of them are closed because this government has done nothing to support them throughout these difficult times. It's just hard to imagine how anyone can be happy with what is playing out with Brexit. I know some people like to say they don't think Brexit's happened at all, but it certainly has happened. It's happened in the very worst way to disadvantage Britain at the very worst point and leave us in a very, very weak position. We are more reliant on food from Europe than ever. And if that's why if you wanted to leave Europe because you didn't like Europe, then it doesn't make any sense, because where else do we get our trade? Where else do we do the bulk of our trade with? It's particularly on fresh goods, fruits, flowers, etc. There is, I don't know if anyone's looked out the window recently, but on the west, there's nothing but the Atlantic Ocean. And America is not going to do a trade deal with us. America only puts America first. And we need to face reality on this, because soon there's going to be real problems, or they're going to delay the checks again, and there's still going to be problems because there will be, at some stage, the biosecurity risk will rear its ugly head and cause mayhem here. The only answer to this is to admit that Brexit has failed and that we need to align with EU standards and try and get rid of some of this red tape. It's not that difficult, but for Rishi Sunak, if he does that, then the right-wing ERG in his party will start running around going mad again because, well, I mean, I don't know, what do they want? Imagine if Scotland decided to leave the UK and they said, right, we don't like you any longer, we're going to leave you, but what we'll do is we will sanction ourselves with checks to export to you, but you can still continue to send to us for a couple of years until we get our act together, and then try and implement those checks, having ensured that they've become more reliant on goods from from GB. I mean, that is what we have done. It is the most mad thing that anyone could do, and it is a mess. And the sooner that we admit that it's a mess, the better, rather than carrying on with, it's fine, everything will be okay. It's not going to be okay. It's as simple as that.
Now this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for us to take back control of this country. Can you hear me at the back? Yeah! Because the organisation that we belong to now, the European Union, has changed out of all recognition from what we signed up to in 1972. And if we vote leave on June the 23rd, we can take back control of £350 million a week and spend on our priorities here in this country, including on the National Health Service. We can take back control of our immigration system. In bunches of more than 2 or 3 bananas. You cannot sell bananas with abnormal curvature of the fingers. Why should they tell us? Why should they tell us how powerful our vacuum cleaners should be? Why should they tell us how powerful our hairdryers should be, ladies and gentlemen? This is not a matter for an international, supranational body to dictate to the British people. If we take back control, we will lift the burden, £600 million a week lifted off the backs of British industry and business. That's why this campaign is growing. Now they think they've won the argument. Did you hear them yesterday? Yeah. They said that they've won. Do you think they've won? No. Can we go forward to victory on June the 23rd? Yes. Do we believe in this country and what it can achieve? Yes, we do, don't we? Yes.